All right. So tonight we have the Q&A. Right, let's see. Let's go to the first question. Some days, some of the Q&A session. Sometimes I keep on looking at before the session starts, or 1 or 2 days before the session. So I keep on looking at Sister Hun Ling, whether she messaged me any question or not. Sometimes right until the end of the hour, also there's not many questions. And some days I will pray, no more question enough. So today one is I pray. All right. Now, first question, okay, from Chan. How to improve the mind and make it more peaceful? Now, this question, it's a very wide question. It's not easy to answer you in this question. The thing is that I do not know what you mean by peaceful, because my peaceful and your peaceful and the rest of our participant here and the rest of the people, the peacefulness, the definition of the peacefulness is very different from one person to another person. So now you want to make the mind more peaceful, right? Hopefully, since that you are a lay person, then my recommendation of certain peacefulness will be, with certain criteria. But if you're a monk or a nun, then we have another or a deeper level of a criteria, a stronger criteria. So let us, since that this is perhaps this is towards the lay people, then let us define the peacefulness. Okay, you may have your own peacefulness or whatever type of peacefulness that you think it is, but the way I look at peacefulness for a lay person will come in with a number of things, and sometimes lay people will define peacefulness as happiness in life. If they have a certain degree of happiness, they feel that they are peaceful. But perhaps that it may not be your criteria. But we need to start from that happiness to go on to a deeper happiness, even for if you are a lay person. So finally, is to make your mind more happier. To make your mind more happier, and here the criteria is that it's a wholesome type of happiness, not the unwholesome type of happiness. Now, the worldly people, if you are a lay person and you're mixing with all kinds of people, not just only with your Buddhist friends, but you have all kinds of friends everywhere, and those people, they will influence you in many ways. And then they thought that, okay, let us go for this place to eat, let us go for that place to eat, this thing is good, that thing is wonderful, this music is nice, that place is beautiful to see, and so on. When we follow into this type of happiness, then for the long run, the mind won't be happy. And when it's not happy, will not be peaceful, because because of the nature of the desire, the sensual desire especially, you want it more, you want it better, you want it, and then it is insatiable. You cannot finish it. So the mind cannot settle down. The mind cannot be contented, which we're going to talk about it on Monday. So because of that thing, and then you find that the mind is always by always looking for things, then you are affected with at certain times you're affected with happiness, sometimes you're affected with sadness, and then your mind keep on fluctuating a lot. So it is good that we reduce our desire. It's to reduce our desire, then it is one of the criteria. So the you want to make your mind peaceful, then the first thing that the Buddha usually mentioned to all of us is to have spiritual friendship with the wise. A spiritual friendship. That is to say, that the spiritual friendship here means not just people that you go and eat together and be happy together, but people who have the certain criteria in life or certain principle in life that they can able to guide you, and you find that their principle it's give you some happiness and give you some peacefulness in life. Yeah? And especially for those with Dhamma. Yeah? It can be a lay person, it can be monks and so on. And when you have this spiritual friendship, this is where the first thing that you make yourself more happier and more peaceful in the later on. Right? Now, so when you have spiritual friendship, then when you have spiritual friendship, the next thing is that because you have certain degree of Dhamma and understanding, then also you begin to perform wholesome deeds like dana, sila, and bhavana, especially with the dana first. With the dana also, it comes with the sila where you begin to prevent yourself from unwholesome speech and unwholesome thoughts and unwholesome action. Those are fundamentals to bring yourself some degree of happiness in this very life. Now, if you do not have all this, then when you want to go into a deeper peacefulness, you cannot penetrate, you cannot go through. Just like when I went to overseas, especially like in Europe or in the US, sometimes people do come in just to want to meditate. But when they come to meditate because they want to have certain peacefulness of mind, to their peacefulness, because they are bombarded with all kinds of desire, all kinds of wanting, all kinds of unsatisfactoriness in their life, whatever, then they have a lot of lust, a lot of cunningness in their mind, and therefore it brings them a lot of problems in life. Now they want to seek certain peacefulness in life with meditation, but they cannot achieve that peacefulness, that what they want, because their fundamentals is all affected. All their fundamentals is affected. This is I see it very clearly when I go overseas. So when these things are happening, it's difficult to bring about that peacefulness, because every time you sit down, the mind it's restless, the mind is desire, the mind cannot settle down. So they cannot be happy, they cannot come into peacefulness. Now, again, once you're able to do those things, and these things, actually, you have to develop it again and again and again and again and again. And it takes years, not just one time or twice. I do not know your background. I may not know you. Then I do not know how your background is like. But just to remember, when we practice this Dhamma, it takes years. It takes years, and it takes years for us to refine our qualities, even these dana qualities of sila and so on. So then further on, and it will be good that you seek out for some form of meditation, whether it's samatha meditation or vipassana meditation, that it will bring a certain degree of deeper peacefulness into your life. Even if you do not have any form of meditation, but if you are a person which is more sincere, straight, honest, and then you don't do all kinds of unwholesome actions and unwholesome speech in life. In that way, you are in a way happy, and you are already in a state of peaceful, certain degree of peacefulness because of your avoiding the unwholesomeness. That if you can able, if you define that as peacefulness, too, well and good. Yeah. So, but if you can, if it's possible, then look out for more a place where you can go for deeper form of meditation, a little bit more meditation. Then it brings you into more peace. Then with that, you go into practice. Then you find the mind can settle even more, further, deeper, and it's much more than higher than what you can. You cannot expect it also, actually, because you have not seen that type of deeper, perhaps the deeper aspect of peacefulness. So this is something that I can share with you. Of course, we can make it much more into a series of thoughts. But it will go along that same principle. It will go along that same principle. Okay. So it's a big question. So the next question also now if the first question, if you find that if you cannot be more peaceful, then you should go to the next question. You go to the next question. All right. Then perhaps you may find some peacefulness here. Some years ago, we started weekly Vipassana meditation for beginners. Our schedule is 1 hour walking and 40 minutes sitting, followed by 10 minutes of Dhamma or discussion. We have 4 to 6 regulars. All new yogis were given about half an hour briefing on the importance of the 4th foundation of mindfulness and the relevant Dhamma. Over the time, a few yogis came and most of them left. The likely reason, number 1, no or poor Dhamma knowledge, and do not see anicca dukkha, and therefore no effort. Number 2, they are quite happy with their worldly life. Number 3, strong and wild wandering mind. Number 4, wrong expectation. Number 5, others. Now the question, how to convince and guide new yogis so that they will persist on and get a better understanding of field and hopefully stay longer. This one, this question, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it again and again in most of the weekly meditation classes. Weekly meditation classes. Not only just in Malaysia, but also in overseas also. When you start the class, let's say a 10-week series, a course of a 10-week a series of talks and also a meditation session. First week and second week come in, quite a lot of people. Wow, you thought that, wow, quite successful. 30 people come in. 30 people for Vipassana is very good already. Then after that, third week, you know that it began less. And then after that, 25. And then after that, become 20. After that, become 15, 10. By the end of the 10th week, then you may get only about 7, 8 only. Normally, we see that. Normally we see this thing everywhere, almost like everywhere. I cannot say for all, but almost everywhere. There are some places, at least I know one place, in Penang and in Mahindrama, over the years, they have consistently about 70, 80 people every week, before the COVID, this thing. Then I from there are 70, 80 yogis now, weekly yogis, Why is it that, why is it that some of this retreat thing cannot persist on? And most of the time we see these things. Now, again, this topic also I would love to discuss, but we only have 1 hour, a little bit more to discuss. This is quite a lot that we can able to discuss. Now, your reason over here, it says that lack of knowledge, quite happy with the worldly life, wandering mind, wrong expectation, others. These are very valid, insight that we see into all these things, which is true. Now, the thing is that how do you begin to let them stay? How are we going to able to make them stay and make them persist on like what you want? Now this is a number of things. It's not that easy to answer, and also partly also depending on the leader also. Now, let us look into Vipassana as a whole. Vipassana is like it's like a sieve, It's like a sieve you tap it, You sieve your coffee, and you want to separate the beverage and also the coffee beans, You put a sieve there, for example. Vipassana also something like that. If you are not ready for it now, if people are not ready for this Vipassana, the nature of the development of Vipassana will slowly push out those people who are not ready. Those people who are ready and have more effort, has more this one, it will let them pass through and go further. That is the nature of Vipassana. That's why, as I said, sometimes in the Dhamma talk, I say, I'm not worried about Vipassana have too many people on the proper Vipassana have too many people, because of the nature of Vipassana, the development of Vipassana itself. It go through a lot of suffering. You go through a lot of seeing into suffering, seeing into your mind, seeing into your wandering mind, seeing into all kinds of very unpleasant things. And the pleasant one is not so easy to come. So with that, because if your faith is not strong, if your faith is not balanced, it will filter that group of people out. This is one thing that I've seen. Now, another thing is that the expectation of also the group or the organizers. If do you see that when you want to develop these things, you have to keep in mind that when you are teaching, when you are sharing the Dhamma, whether it's in meditation or it's in the Dhamma talk, you don't expect that how many people is going to turn up, or how many people that is going to turn up and so on. If you go into the quantity, looking at the quantity, then you will get a lot of frustration. Whenever I teach a Dhamma, or whenever I go for a retreat, when I teach the Dhamma and I give Dhamma talks, and not give Dhamma, when sharing about the meditation and so on. Whenever I start a retreat, I don't really bother about how many people will turn up. I know those people with faith, they will turn up. Those people who are inclined to my teaching, the way I teach, they will turn up. And sometimes I don't bother if you only have 5 or 3. I will teach the way. If you have 3 person, you're going to sit down there for 1 hour also. And you have if you have 30 people, you're going to sit there for the 1 hour, and I'm going to speak the same thing. Whether you got a 3 person or the 30 people, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that perhaps the 3 person, when you give them the Dhamma, then they can go very deep. And because of that, they can able to progress further. And also you never know that when they have the seed is ripened, they may able to attain the first stage or second stage or third or fourth stage also. Yeah. Then compared to if you have a 30, then sometimes even you tell them about the Dharma, not even one also can really go inside their skull, can even go inside can able to absorb the Dharma. So to me, it doesn't matter about whether you are 3% or 30%. What matters is that when we share the Dhamma, you share with your best ability, with without holding back, whatever that when it's appropriate at the time to share, then you share the Dhamma. If it's a meditation, you share the meditation. If it's the Dhamma talk, you share the Dhamma talk. You share whatever you can. So you never know, even with that regular that you still have, like at the end of your 10-week session, you still have like 5 or 7, and then that is good enough already. That is good enough already. This is one thing. Then the second thing is that with this group of people, the small little group of people, this is where you push them further on into a bigger retreat. From your weekly Vipassana, meditation, you go into a 10 days course. You go into a 2 weeks course, 2 weeks retreat, or a little bit more. So when they do that, then only they can go their own meditation deeper. If not, no matter weekly meditation, although it's good that you come together, but it cannot deepen that much compared to a retreat, within like 2 weeks, in fact, So with that, if they go back, you really encourage them to go for a proper retreat, then when they see the Dhamma for themselves, then next time they will come back to become another regular of yours, Then whenever the time comes for a retreat again, then they will go for a retreat. Then after the later part, they will come back. Maybe when they come back, they are in a way they can able to share and help out within that particular group also. You can see that sometimes with the Vipassana societies, then we can see that those who are long enough and when they have developed like 20 years, 30 years, and you can see that there are a group of people who have come in and out, meditation in and out of our retreat, then they begin to able to share. But in the beginning part, everybody also like, neither here nor there, but once they go into a retreat again and again, then it becomes the experience that they have is so much more concrete, rather than just a book knowledge. Their understanding of the Dhamma is so much more deep. And then those people, when they listen to you, then they can able to know that these people has certain degree of experience, personal experience about it. Then you attract them better. Okay, so this is one thing, is that you got to push them also to a retreat, and you have to look into it as a long-term project, not just one session, one series of a 10-week course, but you have to look at it like a number of years. This one, then at time you will see that your regulars become more and more over time because of the faith has developed. Now, also the next thing that I've seen also is also depending on the leader of the group. The leader of the group also is that you must be also in a way that you must able to have certain charismatic in delivering and also guiding the people or the devotees that will come to learn from you. Other words, sometimes you have to go down to their level, really down to their level, and in order to guide them, to bring them up. And that is sometimes, it's a skill on its own. And that also, depending on the karma of the leader also. Because sometimes certain leader, you are a good leader, but you don't have many followers, a very few here and there. Then there are certain followers, there are certain leaders, if they are, and then also they have a lot of followers. Whether they are teach right dharma, wrong dharma, but they have a lot of followers. And then that also belong because of their past wholesome deeds that they have done, respect, perhaps respect, gratitude, and so on they have done in the past. And then when they come into this life, they have a number of many followers. And hopefully, what is important is that, as I said, the leader has to be having right view, right practice, right experience. Now, if you have that certain charismatic, you deliver it as best as you can, people can see your quality and they kind of like, they wish to follow you. Then with that also you attract people to stay together. So that is also important. And sometimes in the Buddhist society, sometimes they are lacking of leadership. Lacking of leadership. Organization, they have a lot. They have a lot of organization. You can organize, people can organize this. You can have this and that. But sometimes certain society, they lack of a leadership to able to bring the society forward into a certain direction and to stay and to maintain on a certain direction. That also is important, in a certain society. With that, people know that your society is a very clear cut. You do this, not like mixing this and that and that. This is what you are doing, and then people can see that we are doing these things. Those people who don't want, they don't come. Those people who want, they will come. So this is some of the things that I can look into it. But of course, there are many other things further. Many other things. So sometimes you also like, if compared to places like Kedah, or when you compare to places like PJ and also KL, PJ and KL, you have a lot of devotees. You have a lot, because you have a lot of people. And then whereas when you go to Kedah, not to say that they don't have people, but you don't have that quantity of people. Comparatively, the PJ or KL, So when you have in KL, then you have that many people, then you find that the quantity is a larger pool of people is there. So there are many other factors, many other factors. Like for example, in Mahindrama, they have people like Brother Chong Seng and a group of them, they have been maintaining it for many years already, more than 20 years already, more than 25 or 25 years or so already, not just 20 years. And before that, it was Reverend Suvarno's group. And then Reverend Suvarno's group, because he was getting old, then he passed it to Brother Chong Seng. Brother Chong Seng managed it with a group of people. So the thing is that they can able to bring the whole Dhamma talk into the very auntie level, to the 60, 70-year-old, 80-year-old auntie, uncle, who cannot sometimes have zero Dhamma knowledge, Because this is Penang, because this is Penang. Of course, they speak in Hokkien. When you speak in Hokkien, then it reach out to a lot of people. It reach out to a lot of people in Penang. And because of that also, and sometimes because of the Pali word, it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to remember, then they make it into something very simple. Like for example, the word vipassana. To make the auntie remember or the uncle remember, you know what they do? They break down the word. For example, vipassana. We means we all together. Vipasa Jnana. Vipasa Jnana. Pasa Jnana. That must be Vipassana. Oh, Vipassana. Next time we all can remember Vipassana. If you know Hokkien, you know. So it makes things very easy for them to digest, you know. It makes things very easy to digest. And then you kind of like get, you know, it's a way how you approach, one of the way how you approach the this type of people, you know. So it all depends on the skill and also, you know, the leadership of the leader, you know. And again, all these things we can able to discuss it much more further, right? Wow, that's a lot. This also is a big topic. The first one also is a big topic. Now the next question also even bigger, even bigger topic. This one is even bigger topic, which is the number 2, but the second one. Yeah. About the concept in the reality of life, how do we not stick or attach to this concept of life? Yeah. Now, when this was given the question came in last week. Then I do not have time to fit into the Q&A session because it's coming a bit late, you know, and it's quite a big topic. So I put it this week. Anyway, last week we were talking also about concept and reality, you know, conventional truth and ultimate truth. Conventional truth is like what we're using right now, word, speech, and also, or rather expression, and also our thoughts and our concept, the mental thoughts. So we use those things in order to relate with our everyday life and how we talk and how we do everything. Well and good. Okay. Now, how do we not attach to this concept and so on about life and all that thing, you know? Firstly is that this concept, you know, or this thinking of ours also, especially our rationalization and our assumption, our understanding, theoretical understanding, here by acknowledging them that these are just concepts and don't get too attached to what we think and to attach to what we rationalize in certain things in life, you know. Because for example, when you are in perhaps like in a meeting, you know, in an office meeting, when you come office meeting and people give like solutions and to a certain problem that your company is going through, and sometimes there are, you know, a series of solution is coming up from the staff members, which is good, or from the executive. And sometimes there are certain people are so attached to their own ideas. They want to push it forward and they want to suppress other people's idea and so on, thinking that their method or their way of doing it is the best. By the way, when they do in that sense, then that means they attach to all their rationalization and they attach to it very strongly. They are not open to all kinds of other ideas and so on. You know, they think that theirs is the best. So too, like sometimes in the meditation, also in the spiritual sense, also the same thing. There are sometimes practitioner or even devotees also the same thing. They get too attached to their way of method, you know. It says that, oh, this in-breath, out-breath is the only way, nothing else already. All other teaching is not right. Your rising, falling, not right. This one, not right. That one, not right. Then other people says that, oh, okay, my teacher's method only is the best method in this world. No other teacher can beat All other teachers are wrong. Then they only attach to all these stuff things. So depend on what type of life that you are going through, whether a worldly life or spiritual life. I know we still very much attached to our rationalization, our concept, our theory, and so on. So how not to attach to all these stuff things? One of the things is that we acknowledge them as just concept, as just rationalization. And this is really important because sometimes there are people who don't attach to all kinds of worldly things, but they attach to their mind, all the concept of their mind a lot. Why? They attach because one thing is that they are not mindful. Because they are not mindful, they are not able to, when they are not mindful, the mind is not able to accept. When they're not able to accept, their mind is not open to everything. Their mind is just one-track mind only. That it creates a lot of suffering in their life. So not to attach means that you be aware of them. You don't try to get rid of them. This concept is helpful for us to have a better understanding in life. But as long as we don't attach to it, it's fine. Sometimes you read those ideas from Facebook, from Instagram, from people send you in WhatsApp and so on. Don't go to attach to all those beautiful words and so on. Just take it as part of understanding only. Don't get too attached to those things. So by understanding, we don't get too attached to this concept of life. By understanding, all right? But understanding that they are just concept only. Okay? Question number 2. Can Bhante please explain more detail about dependent origination? Okay. Now, this is a very big topic. This is a very, very big topic. We can talk about this dependent origination in many, many ways. Now, normally, when we learn about dependent origination, paticca samuppada, this is what you all learn. This is what you all learn. Which has got some more, quite long, actually. This is what you all learn. Because what is dependent origination? With ignorance with ignorance as condition, volitional formation comes to be. With volitional formation as condition, consciousness comes to be. With consciousness as condition, mentality, materiality comes to be. Materiality, six sense spaces come, contact comes feelings come craving comes clinging, existence. Then with this existence comes birth comes aging, sorrow, lamentation, grief and despair. Such is the origin of entire mass of suffering. This because it's called dependent arising. Okay, then the Buddha usually will go on to the next one. But with the remainderless fading away of cessation and ignorance, volitional formation ceases. With cessation of volitional formation, consciousness ceases. With the cessation of consciousness, with the cessation of mentality and materiality, the cessation of six sense bases, contact, feelings, and this one has to go on with the next paragraph. Okay, feelings, craving, clinging, existence, birth cease to be. With the cessation of birth, aging, sorrow, lamentation, grief cease to be. Such is the cessation of entire mass of suffering. All right. Now, this is normally what we learn, and for us, when we look at all these things, it's like too big for us to digest, too big for us to munch it. It's not in a bite size for us, because the understanding is too big. Okay, which is they are difficult and they are deep, which is one thing. Yeah? But there are other ways how we learn about dependent origination in a more smaller size, in a more chewable size, that you can able to understand it deeper. Once you understand it deeper, you understand the other all these things also. So when we learn about this dependent origination, and we learn about this big as a concept first. But then we look at from it from another perspective. One of the perspective is to look at is this one. Oh, it's too big. You got to see it a little bit more. Now, the first one is the standard version. Can you see the standard version here? All right. The ignorance, volitional, and all that thing. All the 12 links. This is the first one, is the normal one. In the Mahanidana version, Mahanidana version is one of the suttas in the Digha Nikaya. It's a long sutta. And this Mahanidana sutta in the Digha Nikaya number 15, it's when it's given, when the Buddha delivered to them, to the devotees, these devotees are quite knowledgeable and their spiritual factors are quite deep. The Buddha doesn't deliver this Mahanidana version of sutta into any kind of devotees or bhikkhus or this one. This one, when it developed, when it's given, is towards the people who are quite well matured in their spiritual development. So in the Mahanidana version, then the Buddha doesn't go on with starting with ignorance. He says starting with consciousness, condition, materiality, and mentality. And then this mentality condition back the consciousness. And then with this namarupa, materiality and mentality, then it comes in with the contact already. The contact comes feelings come craving comes existence, and so on. You see? It's like more like a present thing and also the future thing. It doesn't talk about ignorance and all those things. All right? So this is another version of how we can look at dependent origination. Another way of dependent origination is even more simple for you all to understand. Is this? This is what we do. So as the Buddha says that when we understand this secondary sequence, another way of understanding also in the Mahanidana, the Buddha gave us this, that once you have craving, that means a craving for a sensual desire especially. When you have craving, then it will come pursuit. That means you're going to look for it. Your mind is already thinking already. Then you want to have gain, you want to have a decision making. Then you make a firm decision that you want it. Then your desire lust comes in, then your attachment, then your possessiveness. That means you already have it already right now. You already have it already, possession in you already. Then you have the stinginess, you're not going to share with others. Then you want to safeguard your possession. And then if this safeguarding of possession, if people wants it, then you can various evil phenomena. That means the Buddha was putting in the Mahanidana Sutta is about you taking up sticks and stones to protect your possessions. Whoever comes in and whoever want to take it, you will defend it with sticks and stones and so on. This is what we call the various phenomena. So if we have a certain degree of understanding that beginning from our craving comes into we want it, we want to protect it, safeguarding it. So it goes through a number of desire inside there. So if we can understand, don't have to understand the ignorance, but if you understand from a craving onwards, our sensual pleasures onwards, then these things already comes in. So this is one way in our everyday life, that when we understand this way, then we will we will we will go through all these things. If let's say if it's your car, if you desire a certain car, then you start to pursue it already. You start to make more money for it, and then you want it, and then once you get the money, then you make a decision that you want it, and then after that you buy it, you desire, you attach to it, and then it become strong attachment, you possessive of it. Then you become very stingy. People want to ask you to do this one. You don't want to lend other people or to give other people. You're safeguarding it. And people do anything to your car, then you get very angry. Your words are, harsh words are coming out, and so on. So this is how we are looking at dependent origination on an everyday scale. All right, on an everyday scale. Now, sometimes, on another aspect of dependent origination, the Buddha doesn't go through the standard version here. The Buddha doesn't go through that. Doesn't go through those things. He begins from contact. He begins from contact, comes into the clinging. 1, 2, 3, 4 only. It doesn't have to go into everything. But understanding of that, you also understanding the whole dependent origination. Then here it says that through contact, okay, if you have I, the I as the one that you see, the I, then you have I consciousness, and then you have the I consciousness and the I object. Then when the three come together, then it's a contact. The Buddha says that is a contact. From contact comes feelings. Then it comes feelings, it comes craving. Cravings then become clinging. Clinging means you're attached already. Strongly attached and strongly this one. And then it comes existing, then come this one. So sometimes the Buddha gave only a very start from the middle. It doesn't even end also in the standard form. It just gives you that particular part only. Now, what is important about this dependent origination is the principle of this dependent origination is understanding conditionality. Okay, you see that all the arrow there. You're looking at you're looking at the component, but what is important is the arrow. The arrow is all the same in the sense that something is depending on something else. If this arises, that arises. If this doesn't arise, that doesn't arise. So the arrow here, all this, the conditioning here, this is something that we have to get from the concept of dependent origination. Because the understanding of this conditioning, it will give rise to seeing into the right perception, especially onto anatta. All right? Into anatta, non-self. And by looking at it, seeing things as conditioned again and again, and throughout our life, if we keep on reminding ourselves about this conditioning and so on, then the self, the idea of a soul and the idea of a God and the idea of a creator God, those things will start to push away. And then you begin to see that life is just conditioning, a lot of conditioning. And with that also, understanding that this is a principle of conditioning, then it also helps us when we go into Vipassana practice. 1 minute. when it goes into Vipassana practice, now you see that we were talking about the Dhammanupassana Satipatthana. Dhammanupassana Satipatthana, let's say that day we are talking about the sensual desire. When the subject is sensual desire, and I said that the Buddha says that you must, when the sensual desire arises, you must know what its condition that is affecting the sensual desire to arise. When the sensual desire is removed, then you must know what are the condition it removes it. Then also in a way that when the sensual desire is abandoned, then you also must know that what are the conditions are there to make certain conditions that so that this sensual desire does not arise. So here, when we begin to look into this sensual desire, that day also I gave the example about, you know that the sensual desire arises. You know that desire. Now, you know that the desire arises is coming from the sound that you are hearing. Then you hear that the music sound. Then you notice that in between there's pleasant feelings that arises. Pleasant. Then after you notice desire. Then after it comes thinking. Then if you're able to notice it, you notice its conditionality. One thing gives rise to another, it gives rise to another. Now, this time is in the direct experience. Now, if you can able to see that thing, not just once, but repeatedly in other object also, then when you see that, you also begin to see dependent origination. You also begin to see, although I don't use the word dependent origination because I do not want to confuse you in so many ways, but when you see those things in that way, you see how the condition arises, then you begin also to see the nature of dependent origination. That is how, you see that small, but you actually see everything. Also, like for example, when we were talking about the knowledge of conditionality, which is the second insight knowledge, which is not very far, it's not very deep, so it's a beginning insight knowledge. When you look at insight knowledge of conditionality, that is also understanding of dependent origination. Although it is not, you are not seeing into dependent origination as a whole, but you are seeing a portion of it, because you're seeing into conditionality. Some teachers says that you must see the whole 12 dependent origination with the second insight. Not necessary. It's not about the component. It's about the conditioning that you have to see, that it becomes an insight. So even, for example, sometimes I give a very simple example that when you notice when you're aware of your intention that you're going to walk, then you notice the intention, then you start walking. Then if that this time when you are more skillful, you actually see the consciousness arises, then only the leg starts moving. Then when you do not see the consciousness arises, that intention does not arise, then you notice that the leg will not move. Then when it happens in a number of times in that way, you also see dependent origination, although it's such a narrow space and such a narrow view, just with mind arises, body takes place. Then that is also dependent origination. With that dependent origination, you also see the non-self aspect of it. Then with the seeing of non-self aspect of it, you see that this is no I, there's no I, there's only condition, one thing conditioning another thing. And when you become much more skillful in the seeing this mind and body, how it moves, then it will show you even more. And then that day also I mentioned that when you notice that even in the lifting, Then if the lifting, you got three portion of going up, three phases of going up, then that time also, every phase also comes with an intention. And then only that particular phase comes up, then another one, then another one. Then when you see that, also using into dependent origination directly, not conceptually this time. So understanding of this dependent origination, when we understand it, it helps us to drive us, especially for Vipassana meditator, to drive us into seeing its conditionality in our mind and body. And that is important. Sometimes people talk about this dependent origination is only on a theoretical level. And on a theoretical level, you talk about Abhidhamma, you talk about Sutta, you quote various suttas and all that. You come out even more entangled or pasikat, even more. You do not know what the teacher is talking anymore. But when it comes in with meditation, it makes things so much more clearer, so much more, so much more refined in this sense. So the whole dependent origination here is to help us to go into our practice, especially in the Vipassana, so that we can see it much more better. Okay? So this is quite a lot. We can talk about it a lot, but what is important for us is that this understanding this dependent origination, it helps us to go into our Vipassana, and it helps us to make things better. All right? But we are not finished yet. This is not the last question, I said tonight, I pray that no more question coming in, but still. Okay. Not too much. Don't worry, not too much. But it's difficult to understand, but not that. This one. See whether you all read and they all can understand or not. Is there any qualitative difference in the following? Number one, phala or friction with upekkha upon emerging from it, phala with sukha upon emerging from it, phala with peace emerging from it, phala with neva sanya na sanya, neither perception nor non-perception jhana, eight jhana emerging from it. Okay. So, of course it's difficult, yeah. Of course it's difficult. This one's connected with attainment, all right? I thought about it quite some time back. Perhaps we may not able to relate with it. Now, first one, second one, third one, fourth one. What is phala with upekkha emerging from it? When a person attains magga and phala for the first time or subsequently, and maybe, let's say at the sotapanna level. Now, it depends on whether you have a background in samatha meditation or not. And when you say background in samatha, means that whether you have first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, or fourth jhana, or fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth jhana. All right? If you have those jhana. Not just some people with practice without jhana one. That one is not, I'm talking about those with jhana, with the samatha jhana. Okay? Now, those with samatha jhana, then after when he switch over to vipassana immediately, then let's say he attains path and friction after that. With the path and friction, when he attains the path and friction, and that means enlightened already, that path and friction, the quality of the path, the quality of the mind on the path and friction, it's also dependent upon the jhana level, which jhana that you are entering into the path and friction. Okay? Normally, if you do not have any form of jhana, if you do not have any form of jhana, samatha jhana, but when you touch magga and phala, then the mind, the quality of the mind is equivalent to a first jhana. That means when you equivalent to a first jhana, that means you have the Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, and Ekagata, the 5 jhana qualities. And you come in with that quality. Okay? Now, if you have, let's say, the second jhana, or the second jhana, then when you second jhana means that we go through the sutta way lah. That means your Vitakka and your Vichara, it's already eliminated. Only got Piti, Sukha, and Ekagata. That means you only got joy, bliss, happiness here, and one-pointedness of mind. These 3 qualities. But the first quality will be more significant. So that means the joy will be more significant in the sense that when you enter that Magga Phala with the second jhana, you find that your mind is much more higher. I mean, much more pleasurable, much more pleasurable, much more joyful because of the piti is there, because of the piti that's connected with the jhana. So that is what it means. So therefore, the first question when it says that, the first one, when it says that Phala with Upekkha, that means when you Phala with Upekkha, that means it comes out from the 4th jhana. It enters with the 4th jhana. It enters with the 4th jhana into the Magga and Phala. So when you emerge from it, the Upekkha, it's become the most prominent one. The piti, the sukha, and all that thing is not there. So when it comes out with it, the equanimity of the mind is there. So too, if it goes into the immaterial jhana, that means the 5th jhana, 6th jhana, 7th jhana, 8th jhana, then or maybe not 8th jhana, sorry. Only until the 7th jhana only. 8th jhana, we'll talk about that a short while. It comes out with Upekkha. All the higher, deeper jhanas, it comes out with Upekkha. So this is one way. So the Sukha one, it comes out with the Sukha one. That means this one is the 3rd jhana. Before he enters into the Magga and Phala, he practices this one and he takes that 3rd jhana, come out from the 3rd jhana, switch over to Vipassana. Then with the Vipassana, he enters into the path and fruition, and it enters a path from fruition, come out from that path from fruition, he feels the Sukha. That means he feels the very nice, pleasant feelings, mental pleasant feeling inside there. This is what it means. That means this is connected with the 3rd jhana. The first one, it connected with the 4th jhana, 5th jhana, 6th jhana, 7th jhana. 8th jhana is not much there yet. Yeah? Now the 3rd one, the word peace, it's hard for me to define it because again, the word peace in English can be defined in many ways, right? But there is a way in the there's a way of peace in Pali. It's called Upasama. And Upasama means Nibbana. It means Nibbana. Yeah? Now here, it could be, the 3rd one, it could be that a person enters the Phala and stays with the Phala. That means his attainment of, perhaps most probably, I think, is attainment of fruition. This is what we call a Phala Samapatti, attainment of fruition here. Okay? It's attainment of fruition. And attainment of fruition can be done by Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant. It can able to, you can have, and you come out with, because of the nature of Nibbana, you come out quite peaceful. You come out quite peaceful. Whereas the first one and the second one, it may not be, it could be also but because of Upekkha and Sukha, that one is more towards when we look at it as a jhana. But the 3rd one, it could be most probably the fruition attainment of Phala Samapatti. Now the 4th one, Fourth one is a bit more tricky, you know. You see, the fourth one, 8 jhana. If you're a meditator, samatha meditator, then you say that you are very good, and then you reach until the 8 jhana. 8 jhana, when you come out from the 8 jhana, you cannot do vipassana. You cannot do vipassana. You have to bring up the mind into a more clearer, then later part, then only you can do vipassana. Immediately you come out from the 8 jhana, you cannot do, because of the perception is very weak. And here we need a very strong perception for anicca, dukkha, anatta, you know. And we cannot do it without that, neither perception nor non-perception. So that's why you cannot come out with, you cannot meditate with coming out from 8 jhana. This is one thing, okay? But on another thing, let's say, now this one belongs to the 2 person, anagami and arahant. And if this anagami and arahant, each of them, if they have previously have practiced all under the 8 jhana, okay, they previously practiced under the 8 jhana, and because of their anagami and arahant, then if they do a certain way of how from first jhana, second jhana, when they want to enter what we call attainment of cessation. Attainment of cessation is Nirodha Samapatti. Nirodha Samapatti. Attainment of cessation here means that you need to have 8 jhana. You master the 8 jhana, and also you must be either arahant or an anagami. Okay, you have to master them. Now, once you do a certain way of first jhana, second jhana, as you proceed on, and a certain criteria that you must fulfill. Now, we're not going to talk into that. Then after that, now once you emerge from the 8 jhana, then here for that anagami and or arahant, they go into what we call the cessation of the attainment of cessation, Nirodha Samapatti, because once they're coming out from that, then it goes into attainment of cessation. That is a bit more complicated. Now, here, when attainment of cessation, depending on how long they want to stay in it, they can stay with it, and then the whole breath, everything dead, as if like the body is dead. Like the body is dead, only the mind, everything like is dead. But the life is still there, but as if like it's dead. So anyway, the qualitative difference here is all very much to do with the qualities of the mind that's connected with the pala. So if you see the first one, the third one, the first one and the fourth one, they come out, everything is just upeka only. Upeka only. Upeka means equanimity. So this equanimity can go up to the 7 jhana and so on. And the fourth one, all these things, the quality is that if we are talking about the mental factors or the cetasika, it all depends on which factor you come out. And again, if depending on how strong your concentration or how strong your wisdom is, then depending with that, how long can you stay with it? How long can you stay with it, and so on. So it's a bit tricky, this question. Although that time I talk about it a bit, but a lot of people may not be able to understand this type of things. What is important here is that when you reach Magga and Phala, then after that, you can do anything you want. I mean, in regards of meditation. In regards of meditation. Okay, I think we have enough for today. It's quite a lot. It's quite a big. Tonight's question is a very big question, and in fact, that each and every question, we can take even a talk or two or three just to talk about those things. So everything is just today. We just have 1 hour or more. All right. So enough for the night. Oh, bolat now. Okay. Let's share minutes.